The team gets restructured yet again, and this time Simon actually decides to leave the team and continue to pursue his acting career. Fellow Avenger Hercules uses his Hollywood contacts to help boost Simon's career and introduce him to, producers and studio executives in town. He gets a role on a soap opera called Secret Hospital, which later on Mary Jane Parker would star on. His career continued to struggle, and he gets fired from that show because he forgot to cover his glowing red eyes. Now, remember, his eyes turned that glowing red color after his change, and he did have the ability to mimic human eyes, but it took a lot of focus and concentration. And when you're trying to act, that takes focus and concentration too, so he lost track of it and they fired him for it. Simon kept in contact with the Avengers as always, and in fact, when Vision was critically injured in battle, it was Simon who returned and offered an energy transfusion to heal him. But of course, right smack dab in the middle of the procedure, who busts in? The best brother ever, the Grim Reaper. He shows up proclaiming that both the Vision and Simon himself were pathetic imitations of the real Simon. But Vision and Wonder Man team up with their powers combined, and they defeat the Reaper once again. Thanks to Simon's affiliation with Earth's mightiest heroes, he was able to parlay some of that notoriety into decent publicity. He starts getting booked on shows like Late Night with David Letterman. But of course, what kind of friend would he be if he didn't bring his bros along with him onto David Letterman? He brought with him Hawkeye, Black Widow, Black Panther, and of course, his BFF, Hank McCoy, the Beast. Wouldn't be Avengers on Late Night if something crazy didn't happen. So of course, some super science, super villain inventor crashes the party and attacks the superheroed guest panel. But of course, they fight back and save the day. And it just so happened that a producer out west happened to catch this episode of Late Night and offers Simon a job as a stuntman, which turns out to be pretty perfect for him. He does so well on films like The Demon That Devoured Hollywood that he actually moves out to LA. While there, Simon helps form the West Coast Avengers, which will be renamed later. He is so resolved to balance the Avengers and Hollywood, spending half his time in one place and half in the other. Vision comes out as well and actually meets Simon's mother, who accepts him as her third son, and Simon accepts him as his brother. However, of course, yet again, the Grim Reaper shows up, and this time he brought friends. He brings with him Ultron and the Black Talon. The new plan was to upload Simon and the Vision's consciousness, upload them both to Ultron's computer, delete any differences that the two minds have, and what would be left would be a pure distilled version of Simon Williams's soul in a digital format. He would then download said digital soul into this zombified body of a criminal that he had surgically altered to look just like his little brother. It's not crazy at all. The Vision and Wonder Man team up and defend against this, and ultimately Simon is able to convince Reaper that he is in fact his real brother, Simon Williams. And he does this by admitting to him that it was he, Simon, who embezzled the money from Williams' Innovations into that illegal racketeering whole thing, and not Eric. The admission not only finally convinces Eric, the Grim Reaper, that this is actually his brother, but it allows Simon to make peace with the things he did in his past. He's able to not only admit it to himself, but admit it out loud. Simon had never really been able to truly feel like he deserved his position with the Avengers. He didn't deserve his fame and fortune, his Hollywood lifestyle, being called a hero. But this moment gave him peace, confidence, and the clarity he needed to finally move on and resolve to be a better man. The Grim Reaper did believe and accept Simon as his real brother, but the revelation was almost too much for him to handle. Like, his brain just couldn't quite process everything that he had done. Like, okay, so this whole time, this has been my brother, and I've been steady trying to kill him the entire time. I killed a dude, changed his face to look like my brother, and I was gonna put my brother's brain in it. What was I thinking? Oh my god. So he panics in like this mad dash and takes off running, but he kind of slips, trips up, loses his footing, and falls off a cliff. Like, by Grim Reaper, and supposedly dies. Now, this is comic books, okay? Simon Williams has already come back from the dead, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. I've lost count. His brother's name is the Grim Reaper, okay? Simon took his next opportunity when he was on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson to set this record straight that it really was him who embezzled the money from Williams Innovations, not his brother. And that, yeah, he's been pardoned for it, and this was all before he was Wonder Man, but still, it was him. He did it. He made that choice. His humble admission was seen as very honest and forthright, admirable, and the public loved him for it. See what happens when you tell the truth? His acting career continues to rise. Like, his star had finally started to take off, and he is cast as the villain in the 4th film in a successful Arnold Schwarzenegger franchise called Archon. This newfound fame also provided him with this newfound confidence that begins to turn into arrogance. Fun. It starts to really irk people, especially Tony Stark, who's also very arrogant. So he kind of develops this rivalry with Iron Man. He begins to see the error of his ways, though, after a brutal battle with the Abomination. Like, he really gets his ass kicked, and he has to humble himself, which seemed to happen during filming to promote the movie. But the film crew thought the whole thing was staged and didn't turn their cameras on. That's just bad production. Like, if you get free action, you film that. I'm just saying. Dumb.
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!